Hi, the first iPad painting app I'd like to introduce you to is called ArtRage. ArtRage will give you a choice of canvases, paper, different surfaces, but I'm just going to start with this plain, basically a plain canvas. Notice that I can pull it to a much closer view of the canvas so I can do detail, and now I'm going to bring it back down to where you can see the whole canvas. Over here on the left are your choice of tools. Over here in the corner, let's see if I can get a better view of that, is my color wheel. I'm sorry you can't see it as well as I would like. Right now I have a dark blue chosen. I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to move this down a little bit. And you can see on the left that I've selected the fill. It looks like a bucket of paint, and it will allow me to color the whole page one color just by touching it. So I've selected blue, I'm going to touch it, and there I've changed the color of the canvas because I filled it with the paint can. I am going to hit the infamous back button, which is right here. See the back arrow? And it takes me back to where I was before. That is one of the great advantages to painting on an iPad, is the fact that you can go back and erase anything that you did before just by hitting the back button. All right, I'm going to start now toward the bottom. I'm going to select the oil paint brush, which is right here. Okay, I've selected it. On my color wheel, I have the option, right now I have it at 0 metal in terms of metallic color. I'm going to show you what that looks like with a wide sweep of oil paint. Now I'm going to change on the color wheel to full metallic, and you can see it does give you a very metallic color. I particularly like this when you use colors that look like gold or copper, because they're very, very realistic. I love the metallics. And I don't know if you can see me, I'm tapping closer and closer to the light, middle color, darker, darkest. Here's darkest right here. Okay, that is the oil paint brush. I'm gonna hit the back button. Here, let me show you the back button a few times to clear my screen. And now I'm going to choose the watercolor brush. So I'm going to choose a pretty greenish blue, and watercolor is going to be exactly how you would expect watercolor to be. It will bleed into other colors when you add different colors like this, and it will blend like you would expect watercolor to blend. I am not an expert at watercolor. Watercolor is very difficult, whether you're doing it digitally or on real paper. It's quite tricky, but the colors are beautiful, right? Okay, I'm gonna hit the back button, clear this away so I can show you some of the other things. Here's the spray nozzle. I'm gonna just spray, spray, spray. It has various settings. Each of these things has its own settings, and I'm gonna re-add in the default choices. Here it's going to give me tendrils. They're giving it, so you can see it starts fat and it gets small. That's a selection I made in the settings for the spray nozzle. I'm going to take away the metallic on it and show you what it looks like when it's not metallic. See, it does change colors quite a bit. Okay, I'm hitting the back button, clearing that canvas. The next thing is a palette knife. I'm not going to use it right now because I don't have any paint on my canvas, but let me go to the roller. You see the big roller? Let's choose a nice yellow. I'm going to go back and forth. You could cover a whole canvas with this. And I do love the way it blends color like that. I just think it's beautiful. I'm going to hit the metallic, and you're going to see how much darker it is with metallic. Now this is a good time perhaps to show you the eraser. Eraser, when you're doing digital, you can erase anything. Oil paint, watercolor, it's not just for pencils anymore. So do you see the eraser up here? I'm going to take that eraser. Let me check the settings on the eraser. Okay, it's set for a very strong erase mark. So let me just drag it right across my roller, and you can see it just cuts away the roller paint, and which allows you to do a lot of interesting effects that you can't really do in real painting unless you have access to a lot of chemicals and know how to operate the chemicals. One of my favorite things about painting on an iPad is there are no fumes. You don't need any turpentine in your house. You don't need water. And it's portable, so you could be sitting in a park with your iPad painting as a whole paint toolkit. All right, I want to show you now the palette brush that I skipped over a little while ago. So the palette brush, it's a palette knife. Painters use it. I've got it. Let me find the different settings for the palette knife. Here's some settings. Let's choose this one. This is called a hard out smear. So I'm going to just drag it across what I did before, and it's acting exactly like a palette knife would act in real life on fresh oil paint, I believe. It gives you some very nice effects. What I like about the palette knife is I can also set it. Let's see if I can find these settings here. I think they're here. Where are the settings that I need? Oh, here. I'm going to go here. I'm going to choose blur. Blur is going to allow me to smudge what I already painted. And I like this especially with the metallic because it's really going to have an effect on the metallic roller that I just did. I don't know if you can see how it's really, see, I'm expandifying it so you can see how it's really affecting the paint. Very fun. Okay, I'm going to close back out. I'm going to go next and choose the paint tube. Let me choose a blue here. And I think I have the paint tube set kind of small. So the paint tube is going to give me that. That's metallic. Let me take the metallic off. Here's non-metallic. Let me make the size bigger on the paint tube, and I'll make some spots. I love to do this, actually. See how it makes these nice spots? Let me add it to metallic, because metallic then gives some really cool effects when you go back to your palette knife and choose the blur. Remember the blur that I had before? Let me make this not too crazy. Let me adjust those settings. Now I'm going to rub over these paint drops, paint globs that I put, and I want you to see how fabulous it is when you can blur it to give it. I love the shine that you can get on it. Gives you a lot of options for being creative. All right, I'm going to go back in like that. Let's see. Let me go up to these other ones. There's a pencil. That's easy. Pencil. There is a fine point pen. I can choose another color. Here's my pen. I'm still in a very dark black. Okay, now I've got it as blue. Let me go to a marker. And the marker, I'm going to make it a little bit wide. Let me choose this greenish color. And I've got it in the metallic mode. And look at how it's reacting with everything else. I like when I take it over the globs of paint that I put down, and it has an effect of kind of rubbing. Everything is reacting off of everything else, and somewhat realistically, although I can't say that I've ever done this with real paint because I don't have, I don't want to waste a lot of paint and paper and canvas, so doing it this way is not risky for me. I'm not creating any fumes in my house. I can use the back button, clear it all out. And also what I can do, I can just go down here. Oh, no, you can't. Now I'm going to choose create new painting. And I'm going to say don't save painting. Now here's my choices of canvases. I would like you to see that. Let's see where, let me get, so you can see this. It says paper texture. I'm going to reinstall the default items. Can you see how there is canvas 1, canvas 2, canvas 3, coarse paper, crumpled, fine paper, lumpy paper, marble. Let's choose marble. That's kind of fun. I'm going to adjust how much marbling is on the paper to make it pretty exciting. Now I'm going to hit, there's a spot here, I don't know if you can see it, where I hit done. And there's my marbled paper. Can you see it's marbling? Okay, this is really fun. If you take, let's take the glitter. Do you see the glitter up here? It's a box of glitter. I have it set for quite thick, and I have it set for square shapes. But let's make it a little bit less crazy, a little bit less pressure. I'm going to choose over here, let's choose a kind of a gold color. I've got it set on full metallic. And let's see how that looks. Whee! I love that. Let's change the glitter to multicolor for fun. Like that. And then, of course, I always love to go back to the palette brush, not palette brush, palette knife on the blur setting, as you can see. And I'm going to blur this. Watch. When I blur it, it gives me a lot of possibilities for creativity again. But let me show you the effect if I take the roller. I'm going to use the roller, and the roller is really picking up the marbling of the paper. Remember, I chose a very marbled paper. It gives a lot of interesting effects. I just love this for picking up that extra texture. Let me go back to the blur feature again, and let me do this up close so you can see it. See how it's pulling through the canvas, through the paint. Anyway, one last thing I want to show you, I don't know if I showed you yet, is the fill. Do you see the paint can up at the top? I'm going to fill this whole background. Let's fill it in black and see how it looks. See, it filled the whole background in black, kind of gave me a fancy abstract painting. Okay, hope you enjoyed this little tutorial on ArtRage.